Hi, do you know if we can use reverse auction functionality within Dynamics 365 Business Central? Let's see how to do that in this video. Hi, my name is Murali Avanamuthu. I'm the founder director of Cetas. Today we are going to talk about NB Procure, which is the add-on module built on top of Dynamics 365 Business Central. And we are going to specifically focus on the reverse auction functionality. Like I said, NB Procure is the add-on, which has two components, one within Business Central, one a self-service vendor collaboration portal. So the Granule within Dynamics 365 Business Central helps you with the vendor onboarding in terms of, the workflow starting from purchase requisition to purchase order, reverse auction, budget control, consignment order, functionalities for some company, schemes and rebates, and so on. The portal component, which is hosted on Azure or private cloud, is actually a completely can be personalized for each tenant. It has various notifications upon each event, and it can automate your purchase invoice capture using Azure Document AI. And it has functionalities like advanced shipper notice, statement of accounts, and so on. Let's talk about reverse auction. So what is reverse auction? So it's basically a process where, unlike a typical auction, which is designed to fetch the highest price for a product amongst a competing group of buyers, here the buyer gets to push the sellers to offer the lowest price. So that is the reverse auction process. Now let's see how that is achieved within NB Procure. We have a setup page, NB Procure setup page, where there are three flags, Boolean fields. One is whether we want the reverse auction to be enabled in this particular tenant or not, and whether the vendor gets to see only the bid amount, or whether a time-bound bidding process is enabled or not. So these are the three flags which sort of controls this whole reverse auction experience. Let's look at as a flow, how does it start? So first, obviously, we need to do the setup of NB Procure. Then we have the purchase requisition. Then while creating the requisition, we can flag this bidding timelines and so on. And the buying team can float multiple RFQs for a set of select vendors. System releases the RFQ. The vendor will get a notification. The vendor will accept the RFQ and go ahead and create a quote. But while creating a quote, they can see the other vendor's quote and decide on what is the kind of price they want to quote. And then this submitted quotes get synchronized into BC, which can later be converted as a PO after the due comparison process. Now let's look at a live demo of how the reverse auction process works within NB Procure, within Business Central. And let's go to the NB Procure setup page. So these are the three Boolean flags I spoke about. One is the reverse auction. The second is whether we want to show the least amount or not. In this case, I have not enabled it. And the bidding, which is time-bound bidding, is enabled in this particular tenant. Now let's get started with the requisition. A requisition is what your user departments will initiate. Now they can go ahead and give this sort of some header information and then indicate the items they need. Now they'll go ahead and submit this, and after the due release review or approval process, it will reach you as the buying team. Now you as the buyer, you can go ahead and indicate the bidding timelines in terms of what is the last bidding date and time, and are you willing to give any grace period? So what is the last, even including the grace period, what is the last date and time within which the vendor can submit the quote? Now you can also choose a list of select vendors whom you can float the RFQ for. Once this is done, you will now release this document and then create the RFQs. Once you click on create RFQs, it will create the multiple RFQs for the vendors chosen, and this will trigger a notification to the vendor. Let's switch to the portal now. We are in the portal where the vendor would see the list of RFQs they need to respond to. Now, Let's click on the detail. We can view the RFQ. What are the items we need to quote and so on. Now, we want to go ahead and create the quote. The system basically copies over the RFQ information onto a code document. Now you would be able to specify your price. Since we have the reverse auction enabled, we can click and compare, and that will actually show the other two vendors' pricing for the same item. And now you can decide whether you want to quote something less than 400 or 400 or 410 or whatever. You can edit the line and you can specify your rate. And if you want to specify any discount, or you want to enter the date by which you can deliver, and then you can go ahead and submit. Now once you do that for all the lines, you can finally go ahead and submit this document. You can also attach a particular file. For example, you may want to attach specification or the actual code document which you might have prepared in your accounting or ERP system. You can attach that document, and then with the attachment, this quote now will be synchronized onto Business Central. Let's switch over to Business Central now. In Business Central, assuming all the quotations are received, as a buyer, you will go to the compare screen. Now in a quote comparison screen, you can specify the requisition for which you want to do the comparison. The system will show all the quotes which has been received and all the items and the price and so on. And then you can do the proper due diligence, and once you have decided which vendor to go with, you can select the particular lines and then go ahead and make the order. Of course, you can create multiple orders. For example, item A to vendor A, item B to vendor B, and so on. So all that is possible. And once you do the make order, the purchase order will be raised, and that will be synchronized into the portal again with the notification to the vendor. So this completes the reverse auction process within Business Center. Benefits of reverse auction. So obviously, as a buyer, you get the best price from the market. You can speed up your sourcing decision because you have a time-bound bidding process involved, and there is a complete transparency and fairness because the complete competing vendor ecosystem of yours will know what the others are quoting, and you would stand to gain from the hopefully the lowest price and the best vendor to go with. So that's all in this video. I hope you find this video on reverse auction interesting and useful. If you have any further questions, you can write to us, and you can also get a free trial of our NB Procure add-on from appsource.microsoft.com. Thank you.